welcome to the God is a Geek, a video game podcast. I've decided to call it a video game podcast because it mostly is. My name's Adam Cook and I am joined by the delectable, delicious, delightful, debonair, shit, I got that word wrong. It's Chris White. Shit.
Hello.
Damn it. How are you, mate, right?
Don't beat yourself up, that was beautiful.
It wasn't, because it was off the cuff and I actually didn't say
it
debonair
was beautiful.
correctly.
Yeah, well, so what? We all make mistakes.
Do you know what it is? I've been thinking about the dabbing unicorn that's in FIFA Ultimate Team this year, and every time I say a word that begins with D, it goes dabbing. So debonair. I'm sorry, Chris.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
No, it's not. I've let you down.
You haven't let me down. Look, we'll do this later. I'm
Okay.
fine, thank you.
Okay, what letter should I choose to introduce the next person? I'm not going to tell you who it is.
B.
Okay, so I like a challenge. Welcoming also to this week's podcast, as usual, the beautiful, the brilliant, the bashful, the big bollocked Adam Carroll.
Hey!
How are you, mate? All right?
I was good until you told me there's a dabbing unicorn floating in the world.
Oh yeah, mate.
That's
it.
just like I missed that boat.
I don't know whether it's wearing pants.
God damn it! Is dabbing still a thing? Is it still all the rage?
I'm gonna just ask whether it was ever a thing. Really?
It kind of was.
Really?
It definitely was.
No, but really.
It was. To kids, it was.
But was it really though?
I don't know. My niece.
Yeah.
To be honest, actually, I don't
No,
know
but
why-
really.
like as we record this, I was talking to my niece today, and she just threw a dab out of nowhere, and I was like, Jesus.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was
What
like,
other dance? What other dance all the kids were doing?
No dab.
Floss.
No dab.
Flossing. No, my kids do still dab.
Yeah.
No, but he's saying she threw a dab out of nowhere, just mid-conversation. Adam, what letter should I use for the other person on this podcast this week?
Z.
You're a real fuck, you know that.
Let's go. Let's try it.
No, I'm going to try it.
All right.
I just need a second.
You get a choice of Z or X. And
Just
that's it.
those fucking stalling so he can get on dictionary on his phone.
I actually am
you're an
not.
asshole. Are you doing that?
No, but I can only think of one, and it's not good. The star of Zoolander, Gary Bailey. I've never seen Zoolander. Is it good?
I've never seen it either.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's like
I'd like to
insulting
put
or
Gary
not.
in Zoolander though, because
Is it an Adam Sandler joint? I'm guessing it is.
Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah, but I bet Adam Sandler's in it.
No.
No.
He must be somewhere.
Okay, he is. I've seen it.
Thank
He's in
you.
it.
Thank you. Gaz, how are you, mate? All right.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Fair enough. You don't seem.
Well, I'm a little bit disappointed that I got stuck with fucking Z. Cheers,
Yeah,
Adam.
but mate, what if he said C? Seriously.
I was expecting that, I'll be honest.
And you know what? Being that we're both called Adam, I kind of thought he'd read my mind. He was going to give me the lead in with, call him something beginning with C, and I thought we would all laugh.
No, I don't go down to that level. It's not me. Okay.
Well, then it definitely isn't an Adam thing, because I definitely go down to that level.
Yeah, but
I like
you're
that level.
Disgusting.
No, you've missed the joke. I go down to that. Video games.
Oh, God damn
Video
it.
games are happening. Although actually, it's been. I don't want to say quiet, but it's calmed. It's the calm before the storm because there's so much coming in August. But there's games to talk about. I thought we'd start this week by checking in with Adam because obviously we talked about Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I'm guessing. Well, we spoke a week ago in podcast land. I don't know why I went northern. Podcast land. So I'm guessing you've played another 30 hours of it by now.
Oh yeah, I wish. Genuinely, I do wish because I am loving it.
Okay.
I can from what I've played, which has been around 10, 12 hours now. So I'm still early. I know I am.
About chapter 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Pretty good guess, that, wasn't it?
I think so. Like, to be honest, man, like, my excitement for this game and running around the school and stuff is kind of just what I was hoping it would be, and I'm getting so much enjoyment out of it. I understand, like, from your review and stuff that, like, it kind of just seems to stay that way. Like, obviously story progresses and all that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of so into it. I'm just so into chatting to everyone, and that is the whole thing, isn't it? Like, the characters and kind of enjoying them and all that kind of stuff. I ended up picking like the Black Eagles, and I'm in there now with like Ferdinand and stuff like that. Who
Is that Claude's house or Edelgard's?
Edelgard.
Okay, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I went for just. I'm going to be honest and say that I went for just simply because it was a girl.
You fancied her, yeah.
No, but like it's not. It's just the typical thing of like, I get a choice of a house, and I'm like, well, there's two lads, and there's this girl, and I'm kind of going, I'm going to go for this for a change because I'm just going to see how it plays out, and I'm really happy at it because she's a great character. And
there's like 10 jokes I can't make in 2019.
Please don't.
Just going through my head right now. So please continue.
And just I'm into it. I'm really into it. I do think there is
one of them's really funny, but I just go on. Sorry.
Do you want to do it?
No, I don't.
Sure?
Well, I do. Obviously, I do, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I like working in this industry. Well, that's not true either.
Dear God.
Please talk about the game.
I will. I think that...
No one's stopping you.
Oh, I fucking hate you.
Goodness.
I do think that this Fire Emblem game is a great starting point. However, I do still think there is a lot to learn.
Big time.
And I'm still trying to figure out this and that from it. Like... I'll be honest, I'm still unsure as to how, the ranking is working out, and
yeah.
Is that like a really kind of amateur thing to say within the Fire Emblem world?
No, because this game's there's when you say the rankings, do you mean the skills and abilities, or do you mean the social rankings?
Well, they're kind of just everything.
Okay, well there are two different rankings. The social rankings go from C to B to A, and then S is kind of like ability to romance, because you've got an S rank socially, and they go talk to them, do stuff with them, and that ranks up. But the other stuff is like, so have you done any exams yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so some of the exams, when you do them, you basically change. It's essentially, the exam lets you change class, right? And so, for example, one of my characters, Ingrid, I had as like a lance wielder early on, and then she went down the avenue of, I think it was like the intermediate course where she could ride a horse, and I found that very useful because they can travel real big distances, and often after attacking they can move away again, so you can also almost attack and then get back into like a tree's cover or something. But then for her master class, I think I had her become like a flying, like a unicorn rider or whatever. But to do that, you had to have like a specific rank in lance, a specific rank in something else, and a specific rank in like flying. I think it's horse and flying. So when you teach your students, you're teaching them in those different skills in order to then be able to take them down that avenue in terms of what class they end up or become or can, because you can change classes.
Exactly, and that's like, that is one of the many things that just, I kind of get a bit, I kind of say hyperventilating almost, because I'm like,
well, it's massively complex.
It is,
because the thing is, you can say someone like, again, I forget who it was, but one of mine was like, I want to be like a mage, and I want to basically focus on white and black magic. And I thought, well, that's great, because it means I'm going to end up with like a healer and someone who can do big time damage. And then you spend ages doing that, then they suddenly come to you in class and go, I want to ride horses and be a swordsman, and you're like, yeah, that's great, but that's going to take me months and chapters of time to actually get that, and you're kind of my mage.
Yeah.
But eventually, as you get 30, 40 hours in, what you start to do is you realise it's quite handy to have someone who is like S rank in black magic and white magic, but they're also C rank in sword, so that if they do get up close and personal, they can actually use a decent sword, because certain types of sword need certain ranks to wield them. So like you got your base sword, like your training sword that anyone can wield, but then you get to like silver swords and shit, and you need to be like C or D rank in swords to even use them. They're just not an option unless you have that rank. So it's massively deep.
But see, that's
and
easy, like,
really
for example,
scary.
Like my character Ferdinand is he's my boy on the battlefield. He is just like, he's a big lance, he's a soldier, and he's just going for it, and it's amazing, right? I don't ever feel like I want to change that class.
You don't have to. You don't have to at all.
Okay, and that's the pressure I feel. I'm kind of like, should I be?
No. What I would
with
suggest is, see, this is the thing. The game tells you kind of to almost have two. Every time you teach a class, to kind of have two skills. It's actually better sometimes to just change it to like just lance or just horse, because then at the end of the week, when they get their kind of so you level their bar up, but then at the end of the week they have like almost this is what they've learnt this week, and that will rank up in both the bars you've set. So if you just want to get something leveled up quickly, it is best to just focus on that. But you're never locked in. You can always train them later in a different thing.
Yeah, I think what's mental is for a game that has like you end up staying in this one place for probably the whole game, I imagine. There is just so much to do, and I know that's the main thing, but I do love it, but I kind of have to let some things just slide and go.
You do, and you will.
I'm probably never going to just deal with that part of the game, because I'm dealing with like what activity I should do right now with my activity points, and I need to go down to the greenhouse because they recommend to go to the greenhouse every single day and pick up and harvest and all this kind of stuff.
So the greenhouse is very useful. Always harvest as many plants and plant as many plants as you can, because I don't think it ever tells you this. So to teach your students, you want to pick the ones with the highest like emotional motivation. So if they're like super happy, you get to give them 4 lessons. When you pick them, you can level them up 4 times. That's what it breaks down to. And often if you do that, you'll get like one expert one, and you'll get like a bonus motivation that gives you a 5th one. So you can get like 5 lots of leveling up done on one character. And the easiest way to do that is to go and find these little icons, little trinkets around the monastery, and find their things. And by doing that, you up their motivation. But you could also
like
you can
lost
pick
items and stuff.
Yes, exactly those.
Yeah.
But also you can just give them flowers, and that automatically like boosts 1 out of 4 motivation. So if you've got loads of flowers but you can't find an item, just give them 4 lots of flowers, and you'll fully motivate them. That way you can always be sure you can level up the character you want to level up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you find a lost item, or if you find a gift that is like, this person, this is an ideal gift for someone who loves cooking, and you're like, my character, she loves cooking, give it to them, and it'll get like 50 boost in motivation instead of the 25 you get from a generic present.
So early on, I met this character in a monastery, and she lost a fucking piece of cloth or hanky or some towel thing, right? And you're like, all right. Then I met some other character who went, I found this, but that character wasn't giving it to me. So what's going on there? Like, I'm like, all right, I know somebody who lost a towel. Give me the fucking towel. And they're just like...
So there are some side quests, or I say that literally have you run around the monastery giving one item to someone who gives you the item that gives it to someone else, and you just keep going for about 6 or 7 people until you end the quest. Maybe it's that. I never experienced that quest you're talking about, but it could be that.
Like the thing
I don't know why she'd be telling you that, or he'd be telling you that.
It's just mental in like... how
so
deep
much
it
of
goes, because even like I can't stress enough, like for people who think, geez, has this fella ever played a Fire Emblem game properly before? No, I have not.
This isn't really like a Fire Emblem game. Like the only part of this is that Fire Emblem games tend to be more all about the battles, and then it's a lot of chatting. There isn't this running around a 3D world doing stuff like this. There isn't a school. This is new.
Yeah, so I don't know, but even on the battlefield, that alone is the main thing of Fire Emblem that people know and love. That alone for me was just like, holy smokes, this is insane, because I didn't know that like each character, you honestly have to use them in order to level up. I thought it was going to be like someone does something, we win the battle, we all get XP. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but my God, do you level up a lot?
Yeah, you do, but then I feel bad because I'm leaving some people just behind doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's one guy I just didn't use, and by the end it's like, I can't now, mate. But there's I don't want to spoil, there is a thing you unlock at some point that will help you in that regard, that will let you level up characters you've kind of got a bit left behind.
Yeah. Well, look,
called adjutants.
Well, so far I'm in. I am loving it a lot. I like each time I play it, there's something just new that I'm being told, and I'm like, oh, cool, this is great. I'm into the characters. I'm into how it looks. Some of the frame rate is a bit iffy.
It's rough in docked, isn't it?
It is a bit iffy. But yeah, I think it is a great game so far. I just can't stop thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, that's how I was. It really got under my skin.
Yeah, and I'm just loving. I love just running around trying to recruit everyone, just being like, "Come to my class and let's do stuff," and just the choice of things that you're able to do, and then just putting my head into the gameplay that it is, and the whole like strategic kind of side of things, because I've never done a game like that. I've never played a game like that properly, bar Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. But this is I'm really getting into it. It's very addictive. So far so good. Can't wait to play more.
Okay. I mean, I'm guessing that's +1 sale for Chris. You're in, definitely.
Yes, mate.
Buying it right now. Have you ordered it right now on Amazon? Other retailers are available.
I've literally just gone on to Amazon, purchased.
You haven't really, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Would you have
But
any
I do-
interest in this, Chris?
Yeah, a lot of
okay.
interest. It's just the time constraint of it.
Of course.
We'll
Guys,
see-
what about you?
There's the thing, right? There's the rub.
Yeah.
I wonder, because again, I did like it. I gave it 8.5. That's a very good game. I wonder, do you ever start a game and you really like it, and somehow you just drift away, and then too much time passes, and then you can't go back to it? And I just wonder if I wasn't reviewing it, so kind of had to keep going. But then I did. I mean, I don't know. 50 hours is a lot for a review game. Like, you don't finish a 50-hour game unless you're enjoying it, do you? But I just think I wouldn't have done it in 2.5 weeks. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing, man. Like, if I'm honest, I'm at a point now, and I'm sure we can all agree here as well. If a 50, 60 hour long game comes around now, like this, if I could only play this on like the actual console on a big screen, I wouldn't.
This
get
is what
through
I
it.
was wondering. You know, and this is what makes me desperately want that Persona 5 Switch thing.
Yes,
I wonder.
Man, it's like it is a killer. Like I have never finished Persona 5. I would if it came to handheld, because I did that with Persona 4 Golden on Vita. That's the reason I got it. I've said this many times. Like, these, like The Witcher 3 is coming out in Switch. I have finished that now, to be fair. But because it's coming to handheld, I will finish it again, because it's one of the best games ever made. But that's where we're at now. And like, a game has to be like, I have to be truly fucking like, I need this game in my life right away, and I don't care how long it is, I'm playing it from start to finish. Like, it has to be one of those
I
ones.
wonder, I mean, I know, Chris, you were talking about this the other week when I was off, and I know Adam feels this anyway. Gaz, I know you like, I think you're more in my camp. For a change, we agree in that we kind of, we like the Switch and we like the Switch exclusives, but we kind of also want the kind of 4K HDR experience.
Yeah, definitely.
But I've kind of come round to the idea of everything on Switch. But that said, like, I would like to play Wolfenstein Youngblood still. I would not play it on Switch, you know?
Yeah, there are certain games I think that you just wouldn't. You know, like, there's certain games you want the big, bombastic shit on the TV, basically, and you want it as high definition or whatever
Like,
possible, but...
What about racers? Because, like, obviously you're, you know, the God is a Geek racing guy, and I like my racers too, but, like, what's the game? Did it come to Switch, or what is it coming to Switch? Is it
Grid Autosport's coming to Switch, yeah.
Like, we'll cover that, and you'll be the guy to do it. But, and this is perhaps a difficult one because it's like your favourite series, but are you champing at the bit for it? Or
I mean,
are you sort of already like, well, it ain't going to look great, but then it might, because it's 360 game.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it'll probably look as good as the 360 version. And, I'll happily play it, but I think for me, not having analog triggers is going to make races difficult. Because obviously you can't be like light on the throttle or the brakes when you need to be.
That's why I never was interested in Trials.
I'm interested to see.
What was it? I don't know.
Trials.
What was it? What was the most recent Trials game? That was this year.
Rising. Trials Rising.
Wow.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, because Frontier or Fusion that was the one before, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean that was Frontier. Was that the mobile game?
Mobile game, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean. Yeah, I think that is my biggest sticking point with the Switch and racers is, I mean, realistic racers anyway. Like the sim style ones, you kind of need the analog part of it. I mean, how obviously Grid Autosport's going to use... It's the mobile port, basically, from what I gather.
Right.
So it's going to be... I think you're going to be able to use like the analog stick to accelerate and brake if you want. And you can basically use the tilt as your steering wheel. So, I don't know. It'll be one that I'm interested to try, but...
Do you know, honestly, while we're talking about races, you know the thing I want more than anything?
Go on.
I want some new courses for Mario Kart 8. I know they are not going to do Mario Kart 9 for a while because 8 is selling, continues to sell. They keep advertising it. We all know it's just incredible. But just one more pack.
Oh, yes, please.
Like,
It's badly needed, but before... I'm kind of going off track here small, but I just want to quickly ask, has anyone been playing Crash Team Racing at all?
So I played that the other day, just as I was mucking around I was doing some stuff in the office and I just needed to set up to check the capture stuff was working okay. And I just stuck it on and you know, I threw it on easy and I just quite enjoyed it, what I played of it, actually.
The question I was going to ask is, did you notice that they've put in an update of like a kind of a rewards for just constantly playing? It's a green bar that goes up and you unlock a track, accessories for the cars and like a character.
So they're adding microtransactions. I know that was in the news this past week.
That came out, right? Yeah, but this green bar, every time you'd finish a race, it would just kind of slowly go up, and by the end of it, you'd have all these little bits and bobs, and then it'd restart, and it'd be a whole new thing again. For some unknown reason, that now has just completely disappeared, and I don't know if it's because of this microtransaction.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. It sounds like the stuff you would have got through
that
play.
Is, that is one of the shittest
that's
things.
Bad. Yeah, that's super bad.
Because we were playing it, and I was over in like a buddy's house, and we were like there, and we both just went, "That thing is gone. What's going on?" And we knew we were already after discussing the microtransaction thing, but I was like, don't fucking put something in and then take it away like 4 weeks later.
To actually take it away,
that's
to add
awful,
that is
man.
if that's what they're doing is horrendous. That's bad.
Well, that's what I wanted to say there.
Okay, well let's move on and talk about a game that isn't out until September. But Gary and myself, and again I'm scared to say this. I think Gaz and I are going to be on a similar page here about this game.
Twice in one podcast.
We'll try for the hat trick later, Gaz, when we get to the questions, perhaps. But we've been lucky enough to have I don't want to say substantial because you know the game will be probably 30 hours. These Souls-like games are. I've said it. There you go. The Surge 2, we had a chance to play the PC build of. What is it about? I haven't finished this build. I haven't had time. We were going to do some video and still plan to. I sat down and played a bit of it and was like, yeah, it seems decent. And then I sat down and played like an hour of it, captured that hour, and it didn't capture properly. So that's where, and it was like, the reason we were doing that is because I was capturing at 60 frames, and I think, Gaz, yours didn't, did it?
No, it's like, it seemed, some seemed to, some didn't, and I couldn't seem to get above 720p for some reason. It was a weird one.
I've had no issue with this build. Like, I watched a bit of, I think Giant Bomb did some of it on like Professional Fridays, and they had like graphical glitches and stuff. I had nothing at all. And I played. I got past the first boss and went outside and found shortcuts. And I don't know. I was enjoying the Surge until I hit that game-breaking bug, which they never fixed. And my character's still somewhere stuck in the environment. And I just wasn't starting again after all that. But I did like the Surge. I want to say you reviewed it.
Yes.
And you quite liked it. Was it 7?
I think it was a 7 I gave. I mean,
I'll Google it. You tell us.
I'll be honest. It's one of those games that, in hindsight, I think I would probably go a bit lower now.
Okay. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, but I mean, it was an enjoyable game. It had some nice ideas, and I think it was kind of nice just to have like the Souls-like game style outside of like fantasy, because they're pretty much all fantasy, aren't they, really? It's all like your swords and sorcery. And then it's nice to have one that's like a sci-fi one or with something a little bit different. It just had some issues. Like, I mean, I think we both agreed on this then, was like, when you're in the middle of a fight, you know, you're doing quite well, you're getting in your hits, and then suddenly they're just hitting you straight through your attacks, and it just felt a bit...
that's a bugbear of mine in all sort of action games, when essentially an enemy can just throw out a hit when you're attacking. Like
yes.
I get it if like it's, you know, in like I think in fact Mortal Kombat, NetherRealm do this where you've got like a combo breaker essentially.
Yeah.
that's fine, but that's not what it tends to be. It tends to be just they can attack you in the middle of your attacks.
Yeah, because like in the Mortal Kombat stuff, it's kind of like it's all about timing and and it's not dead simple. Whereas this is like they could pretty much do it any time. Specific enemies could do it. It was very frustrating.
I think my issue with that is that often that takes away from the combat by making the combat feel a bit weightless. Because if you're swinging through them with this hulking great weapon, but they can just punch mid attack, it kind of makes your character feel a bit flighty and a bit weightless. But the Surge 2, I kind of so far really like the environment. Like at first it's quite dark and you're like, oh, this looks like it might be a bit of like almost a horror, and then you get outside and there's like like it's like a
big open. It reminded me a bit.
It's colourful though, isn't it?
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like Dying Light.
Yes,
you know, the way like that sort of style, like the open environment with like, well, that's it. It's basically a similar idea in that you've got this big sort of half abandoned city, you know, and it looks half abandoned. You know, you've got like vehicles overturned and stuff like that, and there's only a few people around. But rather than zombies, you've got these kind of the kind of like enraged.
I quite liked the fact that the enemies seem more human.
Yes, that was it. The whole thing I think with the first one was it was all set in that one Creo facility, and it was meant to be mostly like machines.
Yeah.
They were a bit hit and miss, some of them. No pun intended. But this, having the more human side of it, some of them, can still give you a clobbering. And it can be a little bit irritating, but I don't know, something about it just made it feel a bit smoother. The fights felt better.
It definitely feels smoother, but I wonder, because do you remember what you reviewed it on? Because I definitely didn't play the first on PC.
No, I think it was PS4.
Yeah, see, I'm just wondering if it's the PC version, because these kind of games, like you've played Souls games, and then you've played them on Switch, and you've played them on PC, and you know that when you get a good port of a Souls-style game on PC, this is what I've often said about frame rate. Like, I know it isn't the be-all and end-all, but in games like this, it doesn't half make them feel nicer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one you kind of touched on, like when I initially played Dark Souls 3, I think it was on one of the consoles, whichever one, I can't remember. And then when I played it on PC, and it was like 60 frames, and it was like, this feels better. I'm not that bothered about frame rate a lot of the time.
No, but it does feel better than a game like that.
Yeah, it's just certain games you really notice it more and you appreciate it more rather than just... Like, in a racer, I'm not quite as bothered. Like, I'll play Horizon 4, 30 frames, not bothered.
I think it depends on the type of racer. Again, like if you're playing like a Wipeout style game,
yeah,
I think it's gonna... I think Mario Kart, I think when you play that and it's 60 frames, you're like, this looks just delicious. But... Like the Surge 2's combat, I felt like I don't want to sound like I'm like in love with this game because it's not. I haven't played enough of it, but I tell you what, man, there's not a lot about this game I'm not left thinking this is way better.
Yes,
and I sort of can't quite. It's going to sound like a massive cop-out, and go read Gary's thoughts because he's broke it down into like, this is what's better, this is what's better. I can't quite articulate what it is there's just this, it just feels better. Like everything, it looks better, it plays better, the combat feels better. But in what way,
regarding it feeling better though? Like
the combat feels more...
It's more responsive and it's
it
less...
It doesn't feel as mashy either.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't feel as reliant on these massive weapons. Like it just feels...
And so if the combat being like smoother and tighter, say, like has that made the game a little bit easier? Because obviously
not at all.
It's no.
But you get your ass kicked a lot.
Oh, massively! Like that first boss took me like 10 goes.
If you've better control, obviously, like
no. But what it's done is that, and I can't remember a single time in the first Surge game where I did a combo. And in this one, I have had like I guess you probably picked the weapon up, whether you used it or not, I don't know. But it's like it's like a spear, I suppose, like a pointy stick.
Yeah, I used that for quite a while, actually.
Yeah, it seems quite quick and does good damage, and I managed to upgrade it. And like, so if I say to you, like, right trigger, then right bumper, the combo. So you do like a big heavy hit, and then you do like a whirlwind, like a windmill kind of attack, like almost like a Donatello style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, that is a combo.
Yeah,
and
they
like,
did.
you can actually double. You could even like run and jump into that combo, and it. Yeah, I don't remember ever doing that in the first game.
Yeah, the movement as well helps because it doesn't feel quite as clunky. You know, like,
Not at all.
Even though
you can move in this, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know the whole thing is you're wearing like bits of armor and stuff like that. But in the first game, it just felt like you were almost like you were wading through treacle all the time. You know, like you.
Yeah, it's a heavy game.
Yeah, whereas this one, they've definitely just sort of sped it up slightly. They've made it a little more free.
Because what's the first game they did that was like a Souls-like?
Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen. He said Lords of the Shadow. Lords of the Fallen was by nature like a really heavy game.
Yes.
Like and I felt like the Surge was less so, but still carried that weight, whereas this to me feels more, and I don't want to excite people too much, but in terms of the way it moves and feels, I feel it's a little more Bloodborne-y. Like I feel like you've got a little bit of like nimble-footedness to your character.
I'd go with that, yeah.
I don't know that it even starts kind of similarly, like you just wake up on a bed in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if that was deliberate, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of like that this one's got more of a story as well, because
we haven't even touched on the like the dialogue options.
Yeah, that's it. You've got like there's proper like dialogue tree sort of stuff.
Yep.
There's an I don't know if you got there, but there's an area in the game which is just like an NPC hub.
Is that outside after the first boss, where there's like
no,
you
it's
first
like,
see the city?
It's like the third or fourth area in the.
I think
preview.
I stopped at the point where I was probably on my way to there. I found the shortcut all the way back to the that
it's
area.
It's kind of at the end of that sort of open city area that you go to outside of the prison, and like you go into this tower and you go up a lift and you come out and there's just loads of people around, and you can speak to people. Someone give you quests. I think there was like a vendor there as well, so you could buy stuff.
Yeah,
so
no, I definitely haven't got there.
Yeah, that alone kind of had me thinking, hang on, this feels a bit different. You know, like the first game, I don't know whether they were trying too hard to be a bit Souls-like, because it was like you'd find an NPC, you'd talk to them, they'd be like, oh, I need this. But then when you'd go back, they'd disappear, and then you've almost got to find them again yourself, and it didn't quite work. Whereas this one, there seems to be more of a proper world where people are living in certain areas, or just the fact that there is a bit more storytelling. Because like you come across, it's like weird glitches, and you go up to them, and it just sort of throws out like a vision of something that had happened, presumably in the past. Like it's world building a little bit, and I liked that. You know, I think that would help. It'd help me want to play it more, because I do want to play it more. You know, like I've played.
Same.
Yeah, like I've played a lot of it. I mean, the preview was about 4 or 5 hours worth, I think it was.
Oh, was it really? Wow, I thought.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was only going to be about 2, so I stopped thinking, "Oh, I'm near the end of this. I kind of want to."
Well, I was playing
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was playing it, and I was like, "Okay, right, I've finished that area. That's going to be the end of the preview now." And then it's like, "Oh, wait, no, there's a new area."
More.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
The only thing I saw was like there's a bit in the city where you go and there's like a big gate. You go up to it and it's like a force wall there, and it basically says, "This is the limit of the preview."
Okay.
You know, so it was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, this is going to be a bigger world, I imagine.
I think it's kind of unusual for a developer to give access to this much of a game this early.
Yeah.
Which suggests that they're kind of again, I've seen other people have technical issues. I was quite surprised, given that we're in August now. I was playing it in July. We got it. I'd say mid-July, was it?
Yeah,
maybe early July. I think, because the reason I didn't get to it is because I was playing Fire Emblem.
It's been a couple of weeks since we played it. So you're probably right. It's sort of early to mid. It's a lot of. Like I say, I mean, the only issue I had was what I told you, where it's like it let me run it in 1080p, but it kind of looked still 720p. You know, it kind of had a little bit of a blur over it. Like
I had 1080 60 and I didn't even notice a frame drop. So it might just be a GPU thing. It might be an optimized build. Might have got lucky. I suppose I'm using a newer graphics card.
Yes, I guess
maybe
would make
they
sense.
Target those, and then as they get nearer the release, they kind of scale. I guess perhaps I genuinely don't know how how that works, but I wonder if it's just that I happen to have a newer graphics card that was, say, more compatible.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
it
I'm
looks
not gonna
great
say-
still, though.
Oh, it does.
You know,
look
it
good.
has
I'm
some
not gonna
nice
say
lighting
it's, like,
effects and
top
stuff
of
like
my
that.
list. I'm
Oh,
not
no.
going to pretend to you like, oh, I can't wait. But I am. I've gone from like to like, oh, actually, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I was sort of thinking. I'll be honest. Like when you said, "Oh yeah, do you want to play? You know, do you want to play this?" I was kind of like, "Do I?" You know, like because part of me, I just had thoughts of some of my worst memories from the first game, and I was like, "Do I?" But I'm glad I did
I still want to
because
play
I do.
the first one.
It's got. I mean, it's
wasn't
on.
it in PS Plus?
It was a while
Yeah,
back.
it was.
I'm sure it was.
But I
Yeah.
actually like bought it for like a tenner, a physical copy of it one time, and it, like when it gets close to a sequel like this, now I'm always like, oh, I should really play the first and see what it's like.
I would definitely recommend giving it a try
Yeah,
because it is good. It has some areas which are a bit dodgy. And
yeah.
some,
I think Adam's situation though is what really made me kind of go, oh, that's a fucking.
I think I would have finished that game if that hadn't happened. I fell into a part of the. I didn't fall into the geometry. I got to a bit you could jump into, and because this game hasn't got the homeward bone equivalent where you can just return to the bonfire equivalent, I was just stuck in the environment. There was no way to kill myself. I was just stuck.
Well, that was something that they have added in the sequel. I noticed there is like.
Is it?
Yeah, it's kind of like. I think it's more just like a respawn.
Well,
so,
I'm going to claim
just in
that's
case.
because of me.
Yeah, but I don't know if they added it into the original game. You know, like with an update at some point.
If they did, I'm claiming that's because of me as well. It's one of those games where if you can get stuck in spots, I don't know how they missed it actually because I didn't like try. I just walked around the corner and fell into a bit of geometry I couldn't get out of. So. You know what I mean? I
remember. I think you showed.
Yeah,
me.
I did put a video of it out there. I think it might be on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it and being like, "Yeah, I've been there," and it's a fairly open area that you could easily get into.
Oh yeah,
but for some reason, it just went. Nah, you can't get out. You're stuck now.
Yep,
unlucky.
I'm just looking. Yeah, I literally published a video called "Warning: Don't Get Stuck Here in the Surge." And it says, Deck 13 are working on a fix and it'll be out soon on PS4. And there's a Twitter. They did reply to me and I will look at the date of this. I tweeted them on May 19th, 2017. And they said, we're working on a patch already. And I said, great to hear, folks. Hopefully I can get back in the action soon. Deck 13 replied, on PC we can provide a beta patch already. On consoles it'll be mid next week. Feel free to write us to support@deck13.com. I said, great. That it's coming, was stuck pre-release and was really getting into it. Thanks. And they never did, to my knowledge. Fix that. That was 2 years ago. 2 and a bit years ago. Oh. That's the Surge 2.
Sad times.
Thanks, Chris, for laughing at great to hear, folks. Hopefully I can get back into the action soon. I appreciate it.
It's funny.
I know. It sort of sounded sarcastic and it wasn't. It wasn't.
No.
Chris, what have you been playing, mate?
What have I been playing? I've been playing a couple of smaller titles, one of them is called The Church in the Darkness. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if anyone's heard about this.
I haven't heard of this one.
I have, but obviously.
It's quite...
That's arrogant, sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
Obviously.
I've heard of it, Christopher. Goodness.
It's basically a top-down stealth game that takes place in South America in the jungle, where this cult have been expelled or have left America to kind of make their cult grow, follow their ideals. And your nephew's gone to join the cult, so you as his uncle, I don't know why mum and dad don't go. I can't remember. I don't think they're even mentioned. But hey, you go into this camp and you've got to try and find him. So. Okay. It's all about looking around the different kind of huts and chapels. There's a lot of buildings, a lot of woodlands. But what makes it kind of different is the fact that there is procedural narrative. So
interesting.
Every playthrough is different in terms of what the cult stands for or what their actions are within your playthrough. So, for example, you can go in, and the majority of them will be quite pleasant to you. You can eventually get to meet the cult leaders, Isaac and Rebecca. Rebecca's voiced by GLaDOS from Portal. You would never know because she's so southern America, like south of North America. So like,
Sorry,
wherever
what?
that is. So I was going to say she's South American, but she's not. She's South.
Like
lives
the
in
sort of the
south North
Mississippi
America.
sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
Alabama, forest, all that. Yeah. So they can be quite pleasant to you. There's other times if you play through, they're quite aggressive and unruly. And like as you travel around looking for clues to find Alex, your nephew, there's a PA system that blasts out kind of like their messages, similar to when you're riding around Far Cry 5 in your Jeep and you turn the radio on, or you hear it at an outpost, that kind of thing. But it's very unpredictable because I don't want to give any spoilers away because it is certainly worth giving it a go. But like when I found Alex eventually, my next kind of mission was to find the leaders, and they appeared on the map. So I went after them, and then all of a sudden there was this state of panic. There was a lot of shouting. I checked my map, and the icons had disappeared. And without giving anything away, something kind of drastic happens for that to take place. And it all kind of stems a lot from your actions. So when you're trying to find clues about the whereabouts of Alex, or there's some other characters you can find to give you more guidance as to where he is, you do encounter like guards, and you can, or kind of just normal cult. Well, say you can't be normal as a cult member, but normal kind of people without weapons and that, and you can choose to kill them or subdue them from behind and take their stuff. So if you're quite aggressive and you kill, then that can have ramifications for you later on. So it's also adapts to how you play.
Sounds a bit Hitman in some way.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a very smart game with the way it tells its story. There are obviously some issues with the AI, and again, when you throw a rock in, say Hitman, you throw a rock and they'll turn around and they'll follow it, and then you can kind of draw them out by throwing another rock. The same as in like Far Cry, if you're trying to get someone to follow the noise of this rock, whereas you throw it at them or near them and they'll go to it, you throw another one, they don't hear it and they just carry on walking. So it's very hard to kind of distract the path of a guard or a person, so which can be quite frustrating. And there was a lot of times where the game like chugged massively, especially when I was kind of running away.
What format are you on?
So I'm on PS4.
Oh, okay. I was expecting you to say Switch. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's Xbox One.
Okay.
And yeah, I was trying to run away from a guy with a shotgun and I just couldn't, so he ended up killing me, and that's kind of frustrating. But like as a little indie game, it's not particularly long, and with all the playthroughs, there's tons of endings as well, so you can end up unlocking loads of endings depending on how you play and how because also when you say your health bar goes down to 0 and you die, you're put in a cage and you're watched over. That'll happen 3 times if you're relatively decent within the confines of the camp, so you're not out killing. However, if you're just constantly killing, then you don't get as many chances, and it kind of throws it on its head a bit. So it's very, very smart little game, and the voice acting is really good. And like, there's not that much to do in terms of objectives, but it's not supposed to be this massive drawn-out game.
Right.
It's about how your actions affect your interactions.
Is it like one of those kind of shorter games designed for you to replay it and see
it's not. Yeah, it's not a massive game. I mean, it can be difficult at times, especially if you're going through a heavily populated area. But there are different paths to get to where you need to go. So it's certainly a nice little game for if you fancy just throwing away a few hours on something.
It's cool looking. I like the look of it.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Flashback. Like, it's that kind of art style, like retro.
You've got me with that. I love Flashback.
Because they don't seem to have any faces, but they're like they all move like characters from Flashback, except it's like top down, mildly isometric. But yeah, it's a nice little game. It's the kind of game that the whole PS Plus game. It's perfect. Okay. Like if you're not willing to spend some money on it, definitely play it when you get an opportunity to, whether it's through that or through Game Pass. Okay. Yeah, it's a lovely little game.
Fair play. What else have you been up to?
So I've played Madden, and I've had a lot of time with that. I'm not going to spend too long on this. because it's American football.
but that's massive. Like,
Well, yeah, no,
I'm not going to apologise in September for talking about football. I'm sorry, I'm just not. Oh
Yeah,
shit! I've just said it. Just said sorry instantly after saying I'm not going to say sorry.
Yeah.
Talk about American football, Chris. You talk about it as much as you bloody well want, mate.
I want to talk about gridiron. So
Talk about what? No, football. Well, American soccer.
The gridiron. That's
American soccer.
American soccer.
Just got a title for the podcast. Thank you, me.
It makes about as much sense as calling
Absolutely
it football,
right,
doesn't it?
right, Gary. Spot on, mate. Sorry, Chris. American soccer it is.
No, that's fine. So, obviously, another Madden. There's new improvements. Generally enhance the overall experience. But what I want to talk about is the story mode, because it's changed as from last year. And if you for the last 2 years, it was the long shot story, which was
like their version of the journey.
Yeah, but like in Madden 18, it was like incredible, like really good for a story. Like whereas the journeys, it's all right. This was like followed. Like I suppose if you're a fan of films like Varsity Blues and like Friday Night Lights and stuff like that, where it's typical kind of teen American football drama, it was excellent, and you really kind of cared for the characters. So last year wasn't as good. This year you're kind of playing a customized quarterback from like the last few games of the college season to the NFL Combine, and then the draft and that kind of thing, and then you go to the NFL, and you'll sign with a big team. But from like the moment you kind of join the NFL, there's not really any story. You just play through a season. There's like interactions, but it's just about playing the game. So it's
right.
It's fine. Like there are kind of some, I don't know. They like feel like with Longshot, it did play on your heartstrings a bit, but it felt quite natural. Whereas this one, there's like a sick girl in it who's ill, and you're the greatest player, and it's a bit kind of cliched. But it's not filled with like loads of time spent doing pointless training exercises, which the last long shot was. So it's cool if you want, you want to try something different. But the main bulk of where it's good is like in the gameplay. Like it's absolutely superb. You've got so many like avenues for plays. The playbooks are exceptional, and like the way the AI is, it just runs so smoothly, and you've got games where you can, like, because obviously American football games last a long time, and I'm not saying this wasn't in the last one, but it's just a feature that helps to make these moments a bit better. You can choose to play the full game, so you're playing all the offensive players, all the defensive players, or you can choose to just play the offensive games, and it'll skip like their offense. So I'll play my four downs, and then it'll go to their offense, and I'll just like simulate it to my next opportunity to use the quarterback and the wide receivers and all that, and the running backs. So I love doing that, and that kind of, I'm not a massive fan of playing the defense in Madden games, because obviously everyone wants to score the touchdown, but it is obviously it's a vital part of it. But your AI is that good, providing because you don't get to pick the players when you're simming it as well, but as long as you've got a decent squad, decent lineup, you should be all right. But like just in general, like the way it plays is excellent. The AI has improved massively. When you read the review, which will be live, you'll be able to kind of see a bit more in depth, because there's a lot of new features, which I mentioned, to do with like special players in the NFL. Like the top 50 NFL players have got kind of like an NBA he's on fire kind of mode to it, which gives them added abilities in a game. And you can upgrade your players in the franchise mode. Like there's some old features, some new features, but it all kind of works really well. It still doesn't feel hugely different from the last one, but there are like little tweaks to it that make it worth a while if you're an American football fan. So yeah, that's Madden. And then the other game I wanted to talk about that I've played, and it's kind of tricky to write a review when no one's playing it, because it's solely online. There's not any kind of single player modes like you'd get in like Friday the 13th, where you can play like certain scenarios. This is solely online. So I'm waiting for the thing to populate a bit more, but I've managed to play with Nicola, and it's kind of good. So
I've heard it's really cool and that's super interesting, and that's why it's kind of disappointing to hear no one's playing it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it's been out on early access on PC for a while.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of like the final release that's coming to consoles, as well as the final kind of release on the PC.
Yeah.
But you can play as a team of up to 4 people. So, I mean, it'd be really good to get us to play it.
I've got it, and I really
Nicola,
do want to play with it.
Or,
I've heard it does shit with the mic and everything. Like, I've heard if you're talking on mic, like, suddenly the AI woman voice thing starts talking back to you. Like, I don't know how it works, but I've heard just mad stuff about this game.
It's quite clever. And so the basic premise is you are a group of kids, and the town or the adults have gone a bit weird. You don't quite know why. So teachers, parents, they're all kind of turned into, well, not zombies because they're not trying to eat you, but kind of they prowl the streets and other places, and you don't really know why. So you have to. So when you go to the kind of mission select or the map select, it opens up. You're in like this empty train carriage where you've got like places where you can upgrade your abilities. You can choose your kind of layout, which is either a case of like carrying around a grappling hook or like a stun gun, and other kind of tools like that, or bandages. So you've got the different elements to kind of work in a team. So one of you can be the healer, or one of you can be the kind of the guy with the weapon, or one can be the scout. It's all that kind of thing. So you've got that, and then you've got like a rule book to the Blackout Club, which tells you all of the information you kind of need to know about how to play it. And then when you go to the mission select, the doors on this train open, and you kind of go to this area, which then spawns you into this small town, small kind of suburb that you're in. And you've got like different objectives. Like one of the objectives is to record or take photos of evidence in certain buildings about what's going on. There's other missions where you have to go further into the town, i.e. underground, which opens up a whole new kind of weirdness about it. So me and Nick, we went around, and we didn't encounter anything straight away. We could see some in the distance, but it was when we kind of were looking to pickpocket one of them and get something off them, that he kind of burst through the door when we were scouting around the side of the house and kind of grabbed us. And it was just funny because we both kind of shit ourselves. And we managed to grab it off him. And then there was a panel that took us underground inside this house, right, straight down to this weird bunker. And it's where a load of these weirdos are around, and they can attack you, and they can temporarily turn them into one of them. And you can be rescued, but you can also just end up perishing. And if someone doesn't find you, or they can grab you and drag you along to take you away. And if they drag you past like a heap of rubbish or a bin or anything that you could possibly find, like a random object to hit them with, you can grab it, hit them, and escape. But there's lots of different ways to work together. It's a really kind of smart game. It's just a shame you can't really get into it like properly because there's not a lot of people playing it at the minute. But I mean, we did have one person join us, but because they weren't one of us, they just walked off and were on the other side of the map, not playing the game properly.
It sounds like a kind of thing that's made for Mixer, like where you can co-stream and have 3 or 4 people and just switch between cameras essentially and look at what someone's doing. I wonder if we could get together and attempt to do something like that next week when there's a bit more time. You know what I mean? I want to play it, and that would be an excuse to make me play it, if you know what I mean.
I think it'd be perfect, mate, for that. I think it'd be great. Because I think with 4 people, there's more longevity to your actual playthrough. Because we did quite a few missions, but they were all rather similar. I think you need to spend a good hour to 2 hours with it to kind of just get into it. But like there's so many different... there's a bit where you have to avoid being seen by the security camera, or else you'll get attacked by a load of these nutcases.
Like the mad thing is to me, the game you're describing sounds right up your alley. Sounds right up my alley. It sounds right up Adam's alley, and right up Gary's alley. To be honest with you, this game sounds well designed, interesting, kind of with a bit of a horror bent to it.
Yep.
And
it would be perfect.
But then I hate to sound like that guy, but like it's a brave thing to do in this day and age to make a multiplayer only game if you're not Blizzard or.
And you're completely right. And you know what? It feels like it's still in early access.
Okay.
It doesn't feel as robust as I thought it might be. It's very hard to get into. Like
this
just
is their second
just
game.
for how to It's challenging to to know where to start. Like we didn't know where we were going, like how to get in a mission.
Oh really? It's that kind of like off you go then.
Yeah, it took me and Nick a while to work out what we were doing, but like now we know. Like we can tell you like, oh, this is that, and then we can just get into it. But it's a decent game, but again, it does feel quite barren, and not just in the amount of players who are playing it. Like we played it for about an hour and a half, and Nicola was on the because you can also if you've played a few missions, you can sacrifice yourself and become a completely new character. But whatever score you've got will be put on the leaderboard. So Nicola decided to do that just so we know what it did for review purposes, and she ended up being 4th in the world on Xbox.
Oh, that's well,
this was a week ago, and the game's out now, so it'll be cool. Okay. Maybe there might be more people playing it now. I hope so, because it's a good little multiplayer game that's different than your typical shooters, or it's good. It's all right.
You're sort of it's good. It's all right. It's fucking awful. Shit, hate it. Brilliant. It's amazing. This little bit of a journey that we went on there.
It's worth playing with friends, no one else, because
it requires coordination.
Yeah, and I will find it funnier listening to you lot shit yourselves than a stranger.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. That's fair comment.
Yeah.
Shall we do some listener correspondence?
Let's.
We've got a decent amount to get through. You can send your questions to podcast@godisageek.com. You can tweet us at godisageek. You can find us on Discord, we have a private Discord channel for Patreon, which is patreon.com/godisageek for $1 a month. That's less than £1. So basically for a tenner a year, you get exclusive access in that you get to see all our vlogs early. We also kind of keep people up to date what we're doing reviews-wise. We give away codes. There's the Discord, as I say. There's a lot there. And we're looking to do something podcast-wise, but more on that to come. Nothing to announce as of now. But yeah, you can send your questions there, or just tweet us. At TBSF for me, Chris. Just while we're here, you're at First Avenger 83, at Adam Zokes, and at Blue Fury 47. Gary.
Yep. That's right.
Okay, I just had when when someone starts saying something and you're like, is that right? Well, I'm 3/4 of the way through this, so
it happens to me all the time.
It's just life, isn't it? Thomas at LlamaFluff42, one of our biggest supporters in terms of questions, and generally lovely guy. What's your biggest gaming regret? For example, a console or a game you wish you'd picked up but you never did. I can go. As I say, if someone's struggling, I can go. But Adam, if you say you've got something, go for it.
Yeah, for me, I really, really wish I picked up the collector's edition for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I agree.
I really wish I got it. That statue is lovely, and
yep.
I just adore that game so much. And it's just one of those ones that I see and I go, oh, I should have pulled the trigger on that back in the day. Okay. So that.
I would agree with you on that. Mine is similar. I had quite a good retro collection because I'm very old, and I just sold most of it. Like I had a Dreamcast, sold it. I had.
Why did you sell all of it?
I at the time it was in the loft, and I needed the money, and I had a buyer. But I kind of sold everything, and But some of it I don't remember selling. Like I had a PlayStation 1, obviously. Like I remember being the first kid in town to play Biohazard because I imported it. I used to import the Street Fighter games when they came out in America first. I don't know where it is. One day I'll go in my mum's loft and see if it all ended up there, but I don't have any of these consoles. I don't have my PlayStation 2. I have a PlayStation 3. I have a fat PS3, actually, one of the ones that are worth a few quid. I have like debug Xbox 360s and test kit PS3s out the arse, like for some reason. I've got 2 of each, I think. I do have about 4 or 5 Xbox 360s total. Just I don't know where they came from. But I sold all my retro stuff, and or it's gone. It's gone. Like the Dreamcast is gone. At one point I had a Sega Saturn. I had all of it, and it's just gone. And I had the original.
That's
do you
actually
remember,
quite sad.
I know it is. He says, "What's your biggest gaming regret?" Like, do you remember the 2 games I specifically remember being like this were Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid? They were like, do you remember you used to get like 4-track CDs, and they were like double. They opened at the front and the back.
Yeah.
And they started doing that with games because they were 3 or 4 CDs, and those 2 games of that, I had them. I do not know what the hell would possess me to sell them, and yet I don't know where they are. So
something like that as well. I remember owning the Killer Instinct on the SNES, and it came with a double disc soundtrack, and poof, just gonzo. So,
do you remember Parasite Eve? You remember that series? I imported that because. Also, I don't know if any of you guys ever did import like PlayStation era games. They in America they didn't. In the UK they come in those sort of chunky cases. PlayStation games.
Yes,
in America
yes.
they just came in CD cases, and they were
I do remember that. Yeah.
They were so cool. So I had like a Street Fighter Alpha something or other on PS1. I had Parasite Eve on PS1. All these cool looking CD cases. I don't know where they are. I just don't think I sold them, but they aren't in my house. So, but yeah, anyone else?
Gaz?
Yeah, Chris, Gaz?
I don't think I've really got any. I mean, I suppose it's relatively recent. It was just like I still regret getting rid of my Wii U, and purely because of the first Mario Maker. And Mario 3D World. Like, those, I just
I kept the Wii U because I want to be able to play Punch-Out. I want to be able to play... the Super Mario Galaxy. I can't believe those games aren't out on Switch somehow, man.
Oh, I know.
Super Mario 3D World, I can't believe it. So you sold your Wii U. I suppose.
Yeah.
You figured what were you going to do with it at the time?
Yeah, because I think it was like at the time I think it might have been towards funding my PS4.
Okay, what the Pro or the?
I think the original one. Like,
okay,
I can't remember. It was something like that. Anyway, it was like. It was sat there, it hadn't really been used as much. So I was like, what, I'll get rid of it while it's worth something. Luckily, in a way, it kind of worked out, because not long after the prices just kind of nosedived on them. But it's still, it would have been nice to have kept it. But, Nintendo, give us Mario 3D World on Switch. Just
what would you take if they said we'll give you one and it's 3D World or Mario Galaxy HD?
3D World.
Do you know? I was thinking about 3D World because my son, his first proper Mario, where like he was into games, like really into games, was Odyssey. Yeah. Like, can you imagine that being like that's? Can you imagine like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey being your first games in those? Like, but the thing is, 3D World is HD, and I do remember there was something like ultra challenging at the end, and I keep thinking. I should get him on 3D World, actually, because that was a 10 out of 10 game. That was
brilliant. That was one of those games that was sort of not underappreciated, but
I think underappreciated.
I think it's
of
just
the console it was on.
Yeah, that's it. It was just because it was on the Wii U, which was, let's face it was kind of a doomed console.
I enjoyed my time with the Wii U, but I only played the exclusives, and I enjoyed almost every one of them. It
was a fantastic console for the exclusives, but sort of outside of that wasn't a lot.
In a room where this desk has right now, I can reach my Wii U. It is there because I keep intending to plug it in and play some Mario Galaxy on video for something. Something. I want to play that game again.
Yeah,
it's right there. But then I think about the motion control stuff and I'm like,
I wonder if that's why. Maybe that's why they've not put it on the Switch. Because
no, but they put it on the Nvidia Shield in China, so. Who knows? Chris, we've stalled enough for you, mate, really. I'm not being funny here, but...
Well, I don't tend to regret many of my decisions or mistakes, but there was one...
You regretted Googling Magnums last week.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, listeners, let us know if you actually found out what that was about.
Someone already told me that they regretted Googling it, and it wasn't you.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Fair play.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Big Cock Cook.
Can't put that as a title, mate. Sorry.
No, I don't.
As much as I really, really want to.
Never finishing Bioshock. Still
What?
haunts me.
Christ.
How far
Yeah.
did you get? Did you get to the twist?
No.
Jesus Christ.
It's the
You made
one
me
game
cough. I feel sick.
that I have never finished, even after trying to play at least 4 times. Now,
Why?
It's not because it's a bad game, because I think it's great. It's just I've always had something else. I've not found the time to play it properly.
Can I please ask though? I really hope you're going to say the answer that I want to hear. Have you heard the ending? Do you know the twist?
No.
Oh,
How?
Jesus.
Well, I don't know.
I thought I was doing well avoiding all fucking Avengers Endgame spoilers.
Do you know what though, lad?
That's
He's got a gift right now. He gets to experience that pure.
Oh,
He gets
Chris,
to experience that the way we did, and every day he doesn't do it, he's squandering that gift.
Okay.
I'm going to say right now, Chris, that if you play that game this year, you'll find it hard to say, like, it's not your game of the year in ways. Like, it's
No, I know.
It's
I do. I know.
Just
Did you play any of the others?
Play it.
Yeah, I never played second, but I completed Infinite. Like, I loved
that's-
Infinite.
Yep, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to get on that train of, but actually Infinite's bad. No, it's not, it's amazing. Incredible
it's amazing.
game.
Yeah, it's
As a
Incredible
game, like without properly playing the first one, as a game on its own, like I thought it was excellent. Like, I really enjoyed it. But whether it's better than the first, I don't know, because I've not finished it.
It's narratively better because it feels more complete, whereas the ending of one is kind of done very quickly. Like there isn't much of an end; it's just kind of a real quick cutscene. But it is an end. But whereas Infinite feels more
Is it
story.
on Game Pass?
Don't think
I
so.
don't know.
There's a story in there somewhere.
don't think it is,
Bioshock
but
Game
yeah.
Pass.
Oh, Chris, please, man.
No, it's
I'm
left
just
it in
it's just making me
2018.
want to play it.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that for a long time.
You can get the collection pretty cheap on
It's
PS4, Xbox One.
Do you know what? If anyone listening wants me to play it on like
I do.
like on a live stream or something, so that you're there for me when I get
you
this
owned
ending.
it on PS4. I thought we planned to do that, or did we just never actually?
Yeah,
we
never did it.
We never actually.
No.
I'm sure I remember this conversation, but offline of I'm saying like, oh, we'll just buy a copy and you play through it. Did we never actually get to that part?
I think we forgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that needs to happen.
But I genuinely play that on a live stream, because the thing with live streams, I want there to be some kind of idea behind it. So if people want to see that, I'd happily do it.
Yeah, well, I want to see
this is
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good lead to Tom's next question, Chris, because I do think you should plug what you're going to be doing with the game marathon and stuff.
Well, the thing is, it'll already be over by the time people hear it, but you can still donate, right?
Bitch, it will.
No need for that.
Yeah,
I was only fucking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's an end to it after it's at least a couple of weeks. I think it was last time. But yeah. So obviously by this point in time, I'll have already done it. But like when you listen to this, but for me, tomorrow is just when I'm doing a stream for the Calm charity called Calm, which do their best to kind of combat male suicide in the UK. It's quite a big thing for a certain like up to 45-year-olds. It's the biggest killer. Like it's horrible. You don't need me to tell you that. But this stream is basically just to raise a bit of awareness for the charity itself and to donate to them, because they are a charity. They don't get a lot of money to do what they do. They do a lot for these people. It's not just about a phone line. You know, go on the website. I think it's the Calm Zone. Just Google that, you'll be fine. But yeah, so for that, I am playing The Witcher 3, and that is also because
You're playing less than half of The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I've never seen it through.
And
So
you still won't.
And I won't. However, I also felt that by doing that, it'll put me on a good track to be in it, so that it will give me a reason.
As long as you don't get sidetracked. It's like, oh,
I've
side
already got
quest.
sidetracked. I've already sidetracked by Gwent.
So I reckon you'll get probably past the Baron section, and I reckon that's about there.
Oh, I think he'll get a bit further than that, I think.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, I've played about. I'm on a quest where I've just met.
Oh, you're not starting over?
No, I'm only about.
No,
I'm
well, why
not that
would
far
you?
into it
That's
though.
silly.
So like, I'm with. I've just finished the bit with the fucking hell, where you meet the Wild Hunt for the first time.
Yeah.
You're with the witch.
So cool.
So I'm just doing that.
Let's do a podcast about Triss.
No.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yen all the way.
Gaz, literally, that was the opportunity for the hat trick. You could have just lied. You could have just lied and gone, yeah, I agree.
Never.
That would have been. Oh, Gaz, it would have been.
Never.
I suppose
never
you should
lie.
be true. No,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yennefer's the best.
No,
Yes.
But I'm talking from the books. I've not seen her loads in the game yet.
Oh, you
Yennefer
will.
in the books.
You
It's
will.
cool.
You'll see loads of her and her. Well, listen, I'm not going to get into trouble on a podcast about video games. That's not something I'm willing to do.
Is she in a
Yep.
bath at any point?
I don't remember. Don't think so.
Oh, okay. Still, she's the best.
Or did you say is she in the buff?
No, it's a bath.
Okay. Okay.
Because when they first meet each other in the books, she's in a bath. She's getting in the bath naked, but she's invisible.
Well,
Anyway.
she doesn't. They sort of do that at the beginning of The Witcher 3,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
TV
instead?
show looks good. Moving on. But regarding that gaming marathon, Thomas actually. I mean, Chris can't answer this because it's 24 hours. But Adam, Gary, and myself, what's your longest gaming session? Mine would actually, just very quickly, would be Bioshock Infinite. I think I've told this story before. I certainly have on a video. Is that literally that game arrived, I think, Saturday morning in the post. The embargo was Monday, and I played it from Saturday morning to completion Saturday evening and reviewed it, and it was done. And that was probably the longest I've ever played a game. Certainly my adulthood. So
I don't think I've ever had any really massive one. I think the last one I can remember where I played a lot in one go was Metal Gear Solid. I played from, I think, the beginning all the way up to I think it was the Sniper Wolf fight. In one sitting. I don't know how many hours
Fire
that was.
Emblem Three Houses, I spent multiple days, not all day, but on and off all day playing. To hit 50 hours of that in 2.5 weeks is a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that would be probably the most recently.
I think for me, I'm going to about 18, maybe 20 hours for Rat of the Lich King expansion for WoW.
Wow. I didn't know you were.
Yes. Good lad.
Yeah,
I didn't even know you were a Warcraft player.
I forgot.
Yeah, I went all the ways up to I did
Were you poop socking it?
yeah, pretty much.
What, really?
I got so well, man. I definitely took I'd say 2 breaks for about 15 minutes during that session. I remember it was really hardcore times of playing that game. It was South Park.
You're
It was
shitting
South
in the
Park.
sock, man. That's hardcore.
But yeah, I did that.
God damn, that can't be the title
Cataclysm.
either, can it? Shitting in the sock.
Cataclysm was my last expansion. I never went to the Mists of Pandaria or Legion and stuff like that.
I only played some of it, and when I first played it, it was, I think, after Cataclysm.
Yeah.
It was the first.
Oh man, I got well addicted. I ended up getting the Blizzard keyring, the authenticator thing and everything.
Yeah.
I was my account is like the fucking Bible. If anything happens, it's all over. But yeah, it was definitely Rat of the Lich King when it got announced. Whew, my eyeballs hurt.
I bet. Okay, moving on. Chris Hyde wants to know, if each of the team were chocolate bars, which one would they be and why? Bonus part, choose one for Llama Fluff 42 as a reward for all the questions.
Go on, get it out of the way. Say I'm a Dairy Milk or something. Go on, just do it.
All right. Okay, Gary.
I'll say
I will say Gary's a Dairy Milk, but I will say that also I really like Dairy Milk. Sometimes Dairy Milk is absolutely fine. Actually, no, I'll go one further. Sometimes a bar of just plain old Dairy Milk is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
So you can be Gary. You can be Gary Milk. I'm not sure what's going on there. You can be Dairy Milk. Gary is the words I was trying to say. Dairy Milk is good. I'm just taking this now. I'm running with it. Adam Carroll is Cadbury's Caramel.
Just go for it.
He's Cadbury's
Why
Caramel.
am I caramel?
Because you are the Cadbury's Bunny from what would it be, the 90s, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
he's
a
that
few
bunny.
was.
He's that bunny.
What the fuck did that bunny do? What did he do?
She was just sexy, man.
She was
just
sexy
sexy.
rabbit.
Jesus, that's all right.
It was Jessica Rabbit, but not quite.
Yeah.
More like a literal sense of Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah. I'm sort of stumped now. I went too far too soon, and I've peaked.
I don't know, for some reason...
Adam Cook might be a lion bar. A rugged, tough chocolate bar that
All things I've
feels-
never been
that-
called in my life.
feels good in your mouth.
Yeah, that's true. That's been said.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember the Cadbury's Marble?
Yeah, it was like...
Of course.
Like black
of course.
and white
Yeah,
chocolate.
it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
praline inside.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that. I'm
Incredible.
going to say that's Chris. It's incredible, but he was taken from us too soon. He's not dead. The joke doesn't work. We shouldn't be laughing. It doesn't work.
Oh, well, if I did by the time this podcast goes out,
It will, yeah.
pretty
yeah,
insensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that would be pretty. We'd have to. I'd put it out, Chris. I'm sorry. Every Wednesday a podcast must.
I'd
happen.
want you to.
Good.
I'd
Well,
want you
you're
to.
not having a choice in it. It is going out, Chris. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'll fucking haunt you from the dead when I...
What, your marble self.
Yeah, my marble.
Well, come on, Adam, throw some chocolate bars out. We can't just have me and Chris. What would we can't call Chris a marble because it's gone, isn't it?
All right. Kinder Bueno?
Ooh.
Why?
You just told me name chocolate bars. I
Yeah,
can't
but
really figure out...
relevant ones. I mean, Kinder Egg. Let's
They're
go. Hang on.
relevant.
Let's analyse the Kinder Egg, right? This is the food section of the podcast now.
Be
clearly.
careful, no. Be careful what you say here with the Kinder stuff, right?
So-
Be careful.
So with the Kinder Egg, this is Chris. I'm going to call Chris the Kinder Egg, right? The Kinder Egg itself, the chocolate
It's got a
part,
treat inside.
That's not quite where I was going
You
with
play
it.
your cards right, Gary.
So the Kinder Egg. Now listen. This is serious Adam behaviour now. Okay, I'm being serious. The Kinder Egg on the outside, the chocolate is very nice, very tasty. Okay, very nice. But what's inside is a real treat. It's Chris White,
Oh.
Ah.
and I am talking about your penis.
Right.
No, I've ruined it. I'm sorry. Kinder Egg's good,
I
but I don't
know.
know why you went the Bueno. No one likes the Bueno, do they?
I
People
like
like
the
the
Bueno.
Bueno, man.
You don't choose it. You don't would hang on a chocolate aisle and pick the Bueno.
I would.
You don't. Well, no, you would. You're right. No,
I
sorry.
regurgitate Pringles. I'm definitely going to pick up the Kinder Bueno.
You do. You do. I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
No, I'm going to say the only real downfall of Kinder Buenos is the fact that like you open it up and you go for more opening up and you're like it's just loads of business.
Is it
Just
still
wanna
like
get into
that?
it.
Is it still like that? Like
Of course it is.
Wow.
It's all two sticks and they're both wrapped in fucking plastic as well, and you're just all I want to do is just eat it and
But it's a poor man's Twix, man.
you can't compare it to a Twix. No, come on,
In what respect? In that Twix is much, much better.
because it's like I don't know. It's like going fucking. Like you can talk about a topic and then just going, it's a poor man's Moro. They're completely different bars.
I've forgotten what a Moro is again. Is it a Mars?
Oh,
There's a Boost bar in it.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. That's just took me back a little bit there. I really couldn't think what a Moro was. Every week we used to say that bloody bar, and I knew exactly what it was. What's Gary?
What's Gary?
You said it was a dairy milk, didn't you?
Yeah, you said he was dairy milk.
Yeah, but what do you think he is?
What do I think he is? Right, let me think about this for 0.5 a second.
Okay, that's fine.
all right.
I mean, Chris has called me a lion bar. I'm gonna.
I'm really trying to go with personalities here.
So I'm a Yorkie, just like a real man's man.
Do you know what? I've got it.
Yeah.
I think Gez is. Have you had those dairy milk jelly bean popping candy ones?
Oh yeah, Marvelous
Creations,
Creations.
very good. Yeah, another very good
Yeah, I
chocolate
think
bar.
Gez, you're a marvelous creation.
Oh.
Yeah, but in terms of the chocolate bar, you've kind of taken his personality and gone complete opposite. If the
Adam
joke
Cook,
we're
you seem
going
to be
with,
completely unhappy with my
No,
chocolate
I am
choices
a little
here.
Not if you replace, not if
listen.
you replace the
Like, what do you want
contents of
me
the
to say?
chocolate bar with his opinions.
yeah,
There's
but what
a
I'm
real
saying
mixed-
is the joke, the podcast joke, is that Gary is vanilla. Remember vanilla
No, I
ice
know.
cream,
No, I know.
and what Adam has
But-
picked
but I'm
is
trying
a
to,
chocolate bar
like-
full of everything you could imagine.
But I think that's harsh on Gary, and I think we
know?
take the piss out of him too much. And he's a
No.
lovely guy, and I'm not having
No,
it
Adam.
anymore.
Yeah,
What are you saying to that? Huh?
sounds like I'm outvoted. Is what it sounds like.
Well, fuck it, like, you know.
But just for the last 5-10 minutes of this pod,
What did we call Adam? I can't remember what chocolate bar we gave Adam now. Actually,
caramel.
Carroll. I'm changing that.
Oh, yeah, I'm a
Changing
sexy
that.
bunny
he's
boy.
he's a fucking bouncy bar, is what he is.
Oh, You're a fucking dark bounty. Damn it, I like dark bounties.
There's nothing I say. If I'm going to be forced to eat one of them, that's the one. I could never remember. Did you don't mind bounties then? The literally.
Bounties are incredible.
It
Yeah,
shouldn't
they
surprise
shouldn't
any of you
exist.
to learn that I like bounties.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
No.
That's why you're a marvellous creation.
Yes.
See?
If you like bounties, man, I'm not
Bounties
saying
are amazing.
I'm
Dark
not
chocolate
saying you
bounties
should be
are
on a list
sensational.
somewhere, but yeah, maybe you should be on a list somewhere.
Like, what tub are they in? Are they in the celebrations, is it?
What bounty?
Or heroes?
I think
What-
heroes. I
Heroes.
think.
They force them into heroes, but they force
Whichever-
the coconut one into Quality Street too.
Whichever one of those tubs they're in, they're the first ones I go for. How about that?
So
Yeah.
hang on, just to get we've forgotten. We've got to give Thomas Llama Fluff 42. What chocolate bar is he?
The Whisper Gold.
Oh, hi.
It's weird you say that because when I saw this question, I thought Whisper as well.
Whispers are probably the finest iteration of Cadbury's chocolate. But not only do you get fantastic chocolate, you get this lovely centre.
And they're massively underrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go
David
with that.
Ayers, last question of the week, wants to know... Oh, God, I didn't know there's another food question. If you were a vegetable, which one would you be?
Be a fucking sprout.
You'd pick a sprout.
Yeah, be a
Who?
fucking
Who's
sprout.
You're calling yourself a hole opener?
It sounds like
No,
he is.
I'd want to stay alive for as long as possible, and I think sprouts are probably the least exciting, enjoyable vegetable to many people, not including myself. But I feel like I'd have more of a chance of survival if I was a sprout.
Not going to lie to you, my man. I've sat down many a times with a bowl of sprouts and just tucked into them.
And I'm not going to lie to you, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Any particular? You have any toppings for them, or are they just?
I just put
Straight
maybe a pinch of salt, maybe some gravy in that. But you know,
Fair
a
enough.
bowl and a fork, a couple of sprouts. we're lifting.
I'm
It's
now
just-
sort of imagining you sitting there like it's a bowl of cereal, just
Yeah.
sprouts in gravy.
That's pretty much what I do. Like I normally
Jesus
they'll
Christ.
be made, and I'll go over and just pour a lot of them into a
Unbelievable.
bowl and just sit down. No, honestly, it's a disaster come evening time. Then though, it's
I'd imagine your toilet bowl takes some punishment that
Fucking
evening.
hell,
It's-
mate!
yeah,
All that
it's a
coffee,
disgrace.
eh?
Coffee
all
and
that
sprout.
coffee.
Well, yeah, there ain't any
Sprouts.
marvelous creations being made. Let's just put it that
A few Jackson Pollocks, but...
way. Yeah.
Gary, what would you... So we've got... Sorry, just to recap. Chris is a sprout. Adam... No, what... Yeah, Adam, you never
Yeah.
said what you are. Chris is a
I'm
sprout.
I'm 6'1", so I'm going to go with a carrot because it stands up tall and proud.
No, it doesn't. They fall over.
It stands up tall and proud.
Fine.
Thank
Fine, you're a carrot. Wanted to say that for quite a while anyway, so you're a carrot. So we got Chris is a sprout, Adam is a carrot. Gary?
Yes, I am.
It's
Potato.
I was going to say it. It has to be, doesn't
You
it?
were, I believe you. Which type of potato are they? New potato or...
Yeah,
Baking
I'd like
potato?
to. Yeah, go with the new potato. At least you know
I think
a
you're
little
a bit sweet.
bit of class, but
Yeah.
not much.
Sweet potato.
Would you say a potato is a vegetable or a fruit?
Vegetable.
I'm not dignifying that with a fucking response.
I was just hoping somebody would go into a conversation with us.
Right, so we've got Chris is a sprout, Adam is a carrot, Gary's a new potato. I'm going to say that I am a butternut squash.
Oh yeah.
And I think that I don't need to explain why. I think if you know what a butternut squash looks like, you know why.
Butternut squash is rough enough, though, isn't it?
Sponsored by Magnums this week again. Oh, God. I think that's probably the best place to end this podcast then.
Yeah.
Just again, a quick reminder, patreon.com/godsgeek. You get all the videos, you get this podcast early. Again, we've got back into a habit. You get this podcast quite a lot early, 3 to 4 days early. You can listen to it when you want, but you've got the option early. We are planning some other stuff. But yeah, patreon.com/godsgeek. I don't want to hammer it every week, but it really supports us, really helps us. Like, we literally have some FIFA articles up over the last month or so. From Stubbsy. Mike Stubbsy used to work for God is a Geek. Couldn't have done that without the Patreon. Literally couldn't have done that. That's how this works. So thank you so much for your support. And hopefully a few people listening to this podcast go, these guys are all right. I would like to give them a tenner a year to keep doing what they do. They sound like they're having a laugh, at least, even if we're not. But if you feel like that, you probably it doesn't matter. Just enjoy things, laugh with us and at us. That's what I'm asking for. Chris, Gary, and Adam, thank you ever so much for your time this evening. Today, whenever you're listening. In fact, it doesn't matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And to the listener, thank you very much. And we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye bye for now.